Wait, can I hear myself?
Some pretty ducks and some pretty swans. Obviously, I've moved back over to hosting, and we're going to have a lovely interview with the one and only Mr. Eccleboy on the Astra. How you doing, Dave?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Very exciting time. Come on, tell us through it. Come on, give us.
So it started rough. My aim was a little bit shaky. I'm not really used to a LAN environment. Obviously, played from home. But once we got through the game and everything, and the comms stuck were there, and I don't know, we found this melody and this rhythm, and we found that on the attacking side we did better, and we pulled it through on an overtime, and
It was an interesting compositional choice there from London, you know, with that double smoke with the Omen Astra. Was it something that did you kind of know how to play around it, or was it something that you had to adapt on the fly?
Double smokes is becoming some sort of a meta, especially on maps like Split. You'd have Viper Astra, and you use Astra's utility to pull and stun, while you'd have Viper to
set up your smokes,
to allow you to get onto site, for example. It allows Astra to open up and essentially use multiple stars throughout the rounds that then they can essentially get onto site and do more damage.
So it kind of changes the role that Astra plays for you then. She stops being that well-known smoker that she used to be previously before her nerfs.
Yeah.
And kind of makes her an initiator in a way to allow you that opportunity to, or even as a sentinel if you want to play it on defense, it just gives you that opportunity to play it slightly differently and almost as a slightly different role.
Yeah, 100%. And when we saw it, we were initially surprised, but then I don't know. We found our way of overcoming that barrier, and I don't know. We felt we were able to do much more damage compared to them with two smokes.
Yeah. How did you? Oh,
obviously I've got Radislav here with me as well.
Hello.
Rad's come to join us at the end, but how are you? You know what? You go ahead, mate. I was about to talk over you. But
no, I mean, sorry that I cut you off.
Radislav,
how did you feel when they got that 11th round and you were 11-7 down?
Been in there many times before. With I mean, this is the first time I've played with Rocky in a very long time. Rocky or Rodcast, the duo, it was in the same breach, and a great IGL towards the end. We all listened to him, we all understood what his comms were, and we all understood what he wanted to do during the rounds, and we fulfilled those needs, and we just worked with great team chemistry and won the game.
I mean, it made a lot of sense with your composition as well to utilize Breach and Astra together. You can pull and then just go for the stun. You've got the double stun then as well by the pull. So it's a great way to utilize both characters. So it makes a lot of sense why you guys do it. But I think the main thing that we will say is, have you got anything to say to London? You know,
GG.
That it?
Yeah.
Now we're getting from you. No, nothing else. You know, it's just a simple GG. A tasteful GG.
Yes.
I think that's a great way to put it. Obviously, as we said, we are going to be heading to Golf with Friends as our next game, which will be interesting. So when we're going to be able to head into that, we will do so. But definitely going to be an interesting one, and it looking like we're going to do it right now. So we're going to head over to our casters, Connor and James.
Thank you, Nathan and co over at the desk. We are back again for some more Golf with Friends because London liked it that much. They want to play it again. Phil possibly could take a crown again.
Let's hope.
Let's hope Phil can take a crown again.
And also, our teammates also get closer to the top. That's what we want.
Yeah, get closer to the top, because I have heard from discussions that we are readjusting the rules for this one to be more clear, because both of us are kind of counteracting, like we won, they won, blah, blah, blah. So it's going to be the overall lowest score across all players per campus.
Yeah.
So let's hope we get some low scores, no trick shots that fail, or no, like, tap shots, or, you know.
Well, it's golf with French. It can happen. It can happen anytime.
It can happen, you know.
The physics of it are good, but there can be some times where it just goes completely crazy.
Yeah, and that is what it is. It's called golf with your friends, but it more should be golf to lose your friends, because
that is true.
How you fall out so easily. But yeah, you know, so hopefully, you know, Phil takes his top spot again. We were all cheering for him, you know.
Oh, we were.
Just as much as we were cheering for that Valorant. Like, that Valorant game coming in clutch.
That was just an amazing...
That was.
Just hearing the players after they won, it was just amazing.
It was some amazing content, you know. I was in a room over there when it happened, and it was just an uproar. Everyone had their phones out, and, you know, they were cheering, they're happy.
Yeah,
you know,
I heard it from here.
Yeah, you could hear it from over here. So it's nice to come back and calm down and go some golf, you know.
Just relax golf to end the day. I think, honestly, brilliant game to end. Just relaxing, just a bit of fun.
A relaxing bit of fun golf, you know. Everyone loves to play it. Everyone loves to see it. Everyone loves to watch it. You know, go to your seaside town, play some crazy golf. You know, get some rock candy at the end of it.
Why not?
Yeah, I guess then they should get more salt than sweet out of it, but...
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, we'll hope that there's more of the sweet, savoury, victory here from the Stoke campus in golf again, because of course we have shown that Phil can take good. Maddie, unfortunately, could not make it to this game, so we'll not have our 100% win rate player. Maybe losing last time got to their head a little bit, as we are jumping straight into the gameplay here with a map that has the option to go up a curved ramp, which the player in pink, I believe, is Josh, has gone straight for and gone straight right over. Matt is opting to go for the same thing, with Tom opting to sit on go for the ramp, take the easy way around, and it seems to be going successful for them as we see them jumping over, and they have finally made it. Tom getting in, Phil just slipping on the side, and Josh is also there on the plane. Got a double bogey, so not the worst start, but also, not the best. Being
Yeah.
right, we're going for a points-based system. With Paper at the top, Phil in second, Stash Junior in third, Matt in... But they're all joint second, actually, because of holes, and we're going to see this is a hole on a pirate ship, which means there's going to be water involved. So... how do you feel about seeing water on a map? It can change the game completely.
Yeah, it's a lot which can be done with water, but we are playing with it just being there to annoy both players and viewers, because I'm sure viewers want our players to get hole-in-ones all the time.
Yeah, it's always nice to see a nice little hole-in-one. Of course, in a lot of maps, you can bounce on the water. Some of them are like, hey, you touched the water, you're at the start.
Yes.
This one seems to be one of those ones, and, our players are circumventing it. Matt there falling into the drink, meaning that they're going to go back to where they were, and putting them behind, which is very detrimental to this points-based system we're going off of. Going right over the hole, going to the back, and so they don't deflect into the water, they don't. So luckily, Matt will be staying on the field, and, have a couple more turns just to think about themselves, and they deflect off the hole again. So, the physics of this game, you can even deflect off the post, which is really painful, especially if you just touch the edge of the post.
Oh, that is so true. And there's him, whichever London staff it is, just trying to get in, and ever so slightly misses.
Stash Junior London just misses it, and times out, I believe, on that hole.
Yes, they do, meaning they get
dead
max
bottom,
points.
meaning that on technicality of points, I believe we are ahead here
Yes,
on
we
Stoke
are
campus.
actually in the top three, from what I understand of game tags.
So we see that Phil and Josh taking a nice comfortable lead. Tom also sitting around the same area. Matt going right ahead of them, but doesn't really matter in golf. Doesn't matter how far ahead you are. So long as you hit it right, and we're right next to the hole here. For I believe this is either Phil or Tom because of the red ball.
I think this is Tom, seeing as it's red.
And it just bounces off. It misses going in.
But this is going to be a par.
That is on par, which is a very good jump if it is Tom, because Tom last round didn't have the best success. Bounced up and down from the table, started high, finished low. So hopefully, as a change in it, we see Paper here having to nudge themselves across to get onto the ramp, which is another shot being taken.
Yes.
Josh and Phil going past them. And then sitting there, getting caught in the wheel though, knocking him back further. But Phil using that wheel to his advantage and going closer to the hole there, meaning that he is now one hit away, as opposed to maybe the 2 or 3 that could come from Paper here. And we see the cams are scouting out the map just to see what could come, so they have a rough idea. As we see there's a shark there, which could be a problem with deflections, as Josh is stuck behind these turning wheels here, just misses the edge there. Of course, in golf, these thin spaces obviously are horrible to land on.
Oh, 100%. They are and also the players cannot stop on that bar. Only green.
Yeah, I believe they can stop on it. Maybe I don't know how it works.
No, it resets you.
It resets you. So we see because of that reset, Josh has gone to the bottom, but then goes straight towards the hole and just misses out and goes into the water. And we'll see if he does get reset. That would have been a great hole-in-one from that curve. The fish getting in the way there. He's going for it again, and he goes straight into the water. A bit too powerful there. Of course, power is something that's very crucial in this game.
And there goes London, just dropping off just ever so slightly.
London and Matt going down. I believe the London account is Cameron. And we see that Phil, Josh, they're essentially the same person.
They could have screwed up with London. Could have just sent him flying off the edge.
They did. I do believe Paper did fly him off the edge. If you see Tom going off the edge, and I believe that is Phil or Josh, one of them just went in. As we see Paper, no, it is Phil who is back at the start. So Phil having a fall from grace. We see that the leaderboard up here, Paper on top, Tom second.
That is surprising.
Which is quite good. Phil, it's still in third comfortably, getting in with 8 strokes, which is going to be a... oh no, that wasn't Phil. Phil is now coming up.
He is going to potentially get 6. So that's 3 over par, which is...
He's 3 over par, but we'll see when the table comes up, he is still second and still doing good on points. Unfortunately, Josh getting that timeout is going to pull him back a little bit, but London did have a timeout themselves earlier, meaning that it is going to be fairly neck and neck for this. We'll have to see how our points work out given the end of the round.
And Tom has perfectly set himself up. If he can just go across both boards, which he doesn't, dropping down.
He doesn't, and it does fall into the water. I mean, he's going back to the start,
Where he was last place. And I think he's now noticed the other board, meaning he will get basically...
He gets a good shot, and that could be
just right next.
off of the ridge there as Josh does come up and say hi. You know, he just pokes his little head there, and then Paper comes on down, just, you know, try and go through, possibly on the same, maybe one or more, less or more hits, as we all go in, and then we see the leaderboard as Paper and Otin still fighting out for the top spot. There is close points for everyone.
It is, and we're about halfway through, and it is still close, surprisingly.
Surprisingly close, given the last couple of rounds, and then we see a miss shot there from Tom.
And Matt.
And Matt, so they both fall off. So again, that is a case where they're both falling off, so it's quite good for both teams here. As you see, two of the London balls stuck at the start. Tom going up and falling down, going right into position where the hole is, giving him a bit of a rebuttal from where he was earlier to just go straight into the hole, and he does get it in. I thought he was going to fall short there.
Oh, I did. 100%. He looked like he was going just too slow to get into the hole. He had just enough. And now we're on with Matt, the last one.
Yeah, Matt, of course, you know, he hasn't had the best start. You know, he's again been up and down, back and forth, following this, getting on there. You know, he's now in third place. You know, so the points are still fairly evenly distributed. Of course, the two stragglers at the bottom are pulling their teams down, which means it's going to be up to these top players to kind of get lower and lower scores. We see we're scanning up the map here, trying to see where to go, and there is an up and a down mechanism. And we've seen the leaderboard just to check out and scout, and we see that, you know, it is all to go for still in this point in the game. As we see Phil, Josh and Matt coming through the Staff's London account, just sitting there. Phil pokes his head in straight away from that hole, getting a knock there from,
that was unlucky,
believe was Paper. And then Josh gets knocked into the hole, but then it's a battle back and forth with his own ball to get through, but we do see a par there. So that's going to, you know, pull him up a little bit, meaning he is fourth and not dead bottom, and, you know, the numbers are close. It's like 27 to 26.
This is, I think, a way better, closer match than the one we had earlier. Surprisingly,
it is way closer. Of course, the last one, you know, it started off with, you know, London were dominating, and then, you know, Stoke via Phil came through and just, you know, like, hey, let's finish top, and, you know, we apparently voided that because of disqualification in points, but whatever, we'll take that. We're the real people's winners. Phil was our winner. Phil's our champion. And of course, Tom now struggling behind where he did have a really good start.
Sadly did get a bit of a bad bounce from the corner piece, which sadly put him back down here, and he's hit the same piece again.
Yeah, that is the thing with these ramps. Because you're going up the ramp, you can't see what's the other end. If you hit too softly, you know, thinking, oh, I went too hard last time, I'll just go a little bit softer. You've hit in softer, and then you've not hit to the point where I'd be hitting the right side of the corner this time, getting that right power, coming onto another downward ramp, which everyone likes a bit more because you can see where you're going, and opting to hit straight into a corner. I believe actually this...
He was trying to trick shot it into the flag area, potentially hoping to bounce in without having to worry about an extra stroke. But he is still fourth. That is brilliant.
That is fourth, and we have... I believe that was actually Phil, because it has the hat on it, which did drop him down to third, which is a bit disgruntling for our leaderboard status. But I have to see if that can push any further, as all the players are kind of congregating around this one curve where they failed to get up. But then Josh is pushed up by a deflected ball before it rolls back down again, and Tom can comfortably just go over onto the corner and gets a nice clean sight of that hole there. This is the sort of thing you'd like to see, when you hit it just perfectly and you're right in line with the hole. So even, you know, if you tap it just the right amount on a ramp, you're going to go in anyway. Josh falling down underneath and having to work all the way around again just to get back to that hole, which again, with these holes, if you fall through the floor, you start on again, and that's horrible, especially in this sort of gameplay where it's based on your points.
But it's still a really look like in Staff's uni Stoke dominated leaderboard.
Yeah, so we have Phil and Tom sitting comfortably in third and fourth. Of course, London naturally are having points ahead because they are both in first and second, but this could easily turn around coming to later holes, as hole 10 is one of those ones where you have to go back on yourself, and it's based on the path of what you choose. We see Tom is going down to this path, you know, on the, I believe there's a left-hand side, unless we are reversed on this screen, and he's just opting to look around, scout the area, and I believe there's a gap here, so he has to aim it just perfectly, and he does get it through. He's on the other side, doesn't hit the angle correct.
And Staff's London just overdid the power ever so slightly.
Yeah, South London is really drawing it back, but then the fall down from Tom means he's going to be sent back to that small area to green. It's not too far away from the hole, so he's just got to hit that ditch right, and he does hit it. Does he roll in? He does. Oh, he dips and turns, and he goes in there. As you said, a perfect little shot there. You know, that little wobble of like, oh, it's going over the hole, it's going under the, it's going around the hole, and then it goes in. It's so satisfying when you see that, especially when it's like, you're screaming because it doesn't go in first time. This paper is kind of hovering around the back here, having to scout out the area, see if there's any wrong shots they can do, but they get the right run out of all the wrong opportunities, and they, you know, spins around, drops in, and we're getting closer and closer to a neck and neck. Like we're all in the high 30s, low 40s, you know, and these other players, you know, straggling at the bottom, but you know, not the worst because not too far behind.
Oh, and that was a potential hole-in-one shot, but everyone just seems to be just without too little power, except for, I think it was Phil.
Yeah, as I was saying in like the first round with this Golf with Your Friends, on these ones where it's got like the decanters, where it starts at the top of a point and then curves down on the ramps, if you hit it at the right spot and you catch the rail, you go right up and you can follow it, and that's amazing. But if you catch the sides or like at a really small angle on the wrong speed, it dips and curves, and then you're in a really unfortunate position. If you see the rebound off the wall there for another unfortunate position for Josh, meaning he's going to be sent back to that spot. He knows the power now roughly, so he can go for that again, and he does get it, and he does just survive on the last square there. Meaning he's a shot away, but you know, we take those.
Yes. And surprisingly, Tom is now in third. That has surprised me.
Yeah, Tom pulling it back from his record of last game, showing, you know, I have the big guns now. Yeah, so hopefully they do well, as Josh does go straight up that ramp, whereas the other players opting to go the other way, all of them thinking, hey, you know, you can go the other path, aiming for those cannons, I believe, to try and get straight into them. And we're going to be shot to the other side of the island. I believe this is Tom that we're seeing. No, it is Phil, who just missed the cannon, but gets nudged in by the London ball, meaning he's going to be closer to the hole, which is very great. You know, I love shots like that, when you think you're going to go bad, and then it's like, hey, I'm getting knocked in by the opponents. That's really good. I've had a couple where I've like got a hole in one because I've fallen short and when a roll hadn't finished and my opponent just smacked me in. As you see, Phil here does go and get that par. Luckily, because of that mistake, I guess you could call it. Is it a mistake because it's RNG or like deflections?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a mistake. I'd just call it just luck, a bit of luck. But it's also good luck because, well, it's helped us get at least a bit closer to winning, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a bit closer to winning. You know, it got us in that par. Josh straggling back here, but it gets a really nice shot, and it does curve around and does fail to get into that little box where the hole is. You know, so just nudge it. So he's 9 strokes. You know, 5 over par, but you know he's going well at the bottom there, and we see Phil on top again. So Phil could be the people's champion again, people's champion of golf.
Yes. To be honest, all our staff members are our champions at heart because, well, there are lecturers. They're here at Stoke, not down in London.
Yeah, they're repping the Stampede, the Ducks up here. And talking about Ducks, we are on a map where they are required to actually hit the water, or if not, they have to go over that massive ramp in the middle. So they're just swimming on through. They've got to bounce at the right time to not get kicked out, and they land. And then we see Josh and Phil, 2 best friends in real life, sat beside each other in golf. And they go right over, and Josh lands in this dip with Phil not too far behind. So they're in a perfect position. As they get the hit right, they're going to go up that ramp and in the hole.
All our players are actually in the same spot now. It's come on.
That was amazing.
That was amazing.
Golf claps all around there for Phil.
Perfect shot.
That was like perfect. There was no like rebounds. There was no like rollbacks. That went straight in the hole.
Whoever's playing in Staff London, I feel sorry for.
Yeah, Staff London, of course, they were a neck and neck between them and Phil last round to try and steal that top space. As Paper launches over, and Staff's Uni London is just sitting there comfortably, goes right over the ramp. Paper getting onto the ramp by jumping over the edge there, and of course they both have timed out, I believe, which is great there for our players, as Phil will take the top, and that will add more points to the toll of our opponents. As we see that they are starting on this next hole, and they're just pushing and pushing. All the players launching off and down, having to work out what part of the ramp I go down. They're scouting out, because sometimes these maps like to trick you. They give you an obvious path, but when you look back at it, it's like, oh, the obvious path is the one I wasn't supposed to take. So I have to see if this is one of those, as Phil
or even more difficult, or even the most obvious, it's also more difficult.
That is true.
That is, like, most times could be what it is. Like this one. Look at this one. It just decides to go I am not going to be a floor anymore.
Alright, it's got a moving floor, and these levels you have to aim it perfectly. Hope you get a jump, and Phil does get a nice... Oh, he does glitch out. He did not jump at the right time. He's got to do it, and he does get across, and he does go straight in there, and he does glitch out of the map.
As a duck.
Oh, but he does jump through the map again, and he does get it. That is an amazing glitch there by Phil. And Matt obviously can't take a boost of that same glitch, and it's going to fall off the map.
I'm surprised, like how much London are loving the water at the moment. I thought they were concrete.
Yeah, you know, well,
apart from one river.
They have got the Thames, but we have the Trent, so...
Yes, that's a bit better.
Yeah.
They're not London on Thames. We're Stoke on Trent. Our name is better.
We have got the better name, but you know, in golf, all is fair in golf and war. So I have to see, as Phil and Matt are taking up the table, with Cave, Tom, not too far behind, meaning we have got statistically the higher percentage of players in the top half there. And we see all the players going straight down this curve. And it seems to be, if you hit it the wrong way, you always roll back to where you started. Phil opting to take his time to scout the map, but does hit that water there, you know, revealing his little goose. And, you know, sending it back to the start, which could be a detriment to his points if the London campers have done it again, but Phil has gone and hit on that side again, and Phil is going for the same mistake over again, forced to take this middle path. And we see there, Staff Uni London is possibly suggesting that they have lost this round. Have to see how it goes, as Phil is, you know,
inching his way down,
inching his way diligently approaching the hole. You know,
oh, perfect little shortcut right there.
There's a shortcut. If he gets it right, he does get it. Does he deflect off? And he does manage to land on the wooden beam. And will we glitch out if we land on this beam? He does survive on the beam. And this is a nice little shot if he can get it perfectly. He hits the wall, he bounces, and he just misses off.
Perfect. He's set up though perfect. There you go.
He is set up perfectly. 4 over par with 6 seconds left on the clock. Of course, that saved him 7 points there.
Oh, 100%.
Still putting him on the top. And we have, you know, hopefully, you know, that is enough of those 7 points. Will keep us up. We see our players are being yeeted across the map, trying to get that top of it, and Phil gets straight onto the top, giving him a very clear path of what to come.
Same with Matt and I think another one of our London lecturers.
Yeah, Matt and Paper are 2 of our London lecturers. As we see, Phil gets that clear shot, and there is a slight incline. And one thing that every Golf With Your Friends player hates is a slight incline. Never know what's above it, never know what's around it. Phil overcomes it, gets a par, and just showing how good he is at this game. I think we should have a passing of the guard from Phil to Maddie of the best player of, you know, Stoke.
Yes.
Golf With Your Friends.
He has
Tom getting par as well.
We heard Maddie was brilliant at it, but look at Phil. He's just annihilating everyone.
Phil is annihilating everyone, and our Stoke campus lecturers are taking the lead still, both on the table and with their numbers. And unfortunately, we see a knockoff there, meaning that there's going to be, you know, less time. We see a nice little achievement there, as they just missed the eye game. It could land on the beams, but they don't land on the beam to get that for. So this seems to be a very tactical aerial map. You have to get that angle just perfect to land in the eye.
That is true, and it potentially also goes to a tunnel tube, which takes you to a closer point to the hole.
Yes, and you know, if not, it seems this waterbed does take you on a path roughly to get there. As you just see, as Tom has just missed the hole, landing in the water, and then Phil, you know, is comfortably sitting, you know, just by the side, and he's gonna, you know, go on that water, get a little ride with his little goose. You know, we have the ducks and swans today. You know, geese are the other birds. You know, really like, you know, go down to Hanley Park, you see all your geese. You know, they like just try and steal your bread. I've had many instances of those geese, but you know, this is golf, not geese. As we see, Phil has got a nice sight of that hole. If he can get it from here, he will be under par, and he does just nudge close, and he does get it. Can he get it one under par?
Yes, he does.
And I believe that is a birdie for this,
which
round.
Is perfect for us. Seems it's birds in general. And Tom has sadly timed out.
Tom has timed out and plummeted, which could be a big detriment to the score for Stoke campus as we come into this big tentacle Cthulhu squid monster for the last hole, and it will come down to who gets it. Phil landing on the water, but can he bounce his way back to a green? This is coming down to what wins, and he does slowly bounce back towards it. He gets knocked by a tentacle though, which could be very, very big, and he gets knocked onto the green by a tentacle. And the game again giving some luck to our players. Josh getting knocked in by an opponent, Phil getting kept on the green by the scenery, but misses. But can he bounce back onto the green again from here? And I think that is all she wrote for the ball there. Knowing the angles again though, Phil can go up, and it's one of the worst holes you can get in this game. You have to get the curve perfect to try and guarantee you score it. Phil has got his all in his hands, and he does, and he gets it.
Phil.
He gets it in on a birdie on this hole.
Phil, the man's champion.
Which could mean Phil, our people's champion, has just clutched it for the Stoke campus. We'll find out a point at the end. Hopefully our lovely production team are tallying up as we look at the scoreboards to liaise with our opponents.
One thing which I find with these holes is the closer you are, the better, because you don't have to worry about too much power or too little power.
That is true, but we see a lot of our players have timed out, which could be very bad, and we see a GG there from Statue London, so we'll have to go and hope our lovely team will tally up these points for both us and London to see who is victorious in Golf with Our Friends.
Union London did say that they think we won that one, so that is, hopefully, is true.
Hopefully that is true. They were saying that quite early on in the rounds, though, which means that, they're like, hey, you're doing really well in these rounds, we've got a few timeouts, but then our players start to time out more and more and more.
Yeah, near the end especially.
Yeah, which, it was towards the end, which is quite good because you're not getting those early point losses, but then back at the, you also got the fact that, hey, London were getting down because they were getting these tally drops, and it was like a back and forth of our players were getting the penalties, their players were getting the penalties, there was players, missing by mere points to like a birdie or a par, so it'll come down to those little tiny shavings of a point.
100%.
And hopefully Phil coming out on top again does push us.
And also Tom surprisingly did well this time. And wow, okay, we have been told we have won.
We have, that was
30 points apparently. 30 points.
That is very big. So
I think we need to give a clap to us. Crew and
golf claps all around. Golf claps all
well
around.
Done. 30 points. That is. I thought we would be closer.
100%. I thought it was going to come down to like
one or
par.
two.
Yeah, like
or 100%. It genuinely seemed with the amount of timeouts with them given max strokes, I genuinely did think that. So 30 points, amazing.
Yeah, like having such a big gap as well, like in golf, like every number counts, and having a gap that big, as you can see, to my side, a lot of our players and crew are celebrating because of that victory in golf, because it just goes to show to London, like, hey, you ought to veto the decision, we'll just win it again anyway. Like,
actually, that is true. We won last time, we won again. So, maybe third time the charm for London, but we're at the end.
Maybe.
So yeah. If London, you want to do it again, just tell us.
Yeah, London.
But not today.
Not today. Not today. We're all done for today. We're all worn out. And talking about worn out, we're going to pass you over to some lovely people so we can rest our throats and you can get some lovely voices in return.
Thank you, Connor. Thank you, James. And I think. Do you want to go a bit closer? You can go a bit closer and show if you want.
There's some text there that I don't think they can
see. Obviously, it's me, Cole, and Elliot here to.
Hello.
We're on the late night shift, but Josh wants to show other camera.
Nice one.
There was something previously written there. What did it say?
Come on. What else did it say?
That cool, fantastic, great.
Oh, what's in the back though? What's in the back?
No, we're not reading out the back.
I wonder what's in the back.
Anyways, it's myself, Cole the Cheese Man,
hello,
and Mr. Flowerboy Elliot.
The real Flowerboy.
Obviously, we're coming to the end of our show, so we'll have a quick summary of how the day's gone. Elliot, why don't you do that for us?
We can start, So at the beginning, Stoke taking a few L's here and there. We did lose the league. We did lose our teamfight tactics. We did lose the Rocket League, but we did start putting it back. The Valorant game, extremely close, but an extremely eventful game. We of course took that back home. Maybe won golf twice. We got a free win from Garfield Car, and of course as well, I'm missing one game, aren't I?
I believe you're forgetting the most important game of all.
Well, the Pokemon one.
Well, obviously Valorant as well.
I just talked about Valorant.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Well,
I think the hours are getting to us.
It's definitely ending in the late shift, the late night shift for us. But yeah, I honestly thought you'd forgotten Valorant then, and I would have been heartbroken.
I would never forget about
Me
Valorant.
and Cole putting in an absolute shift.
You cannot deny that.
When you say that, but the boys, they put in a good, really good performance.
They put in some amazing performances.
The boys put in a performance, and me and Cole provided you with some nice hearing bliss of lovely casting. We tried to do our best, but
it was amazing. It was good casting. I do rate it.
Thank you.
Rate it.
I think it's a fair comment to say that all our talent. So
absolutely.
Everyone involved in talent
100%.
today, you've been absolutely brilliant. Obviously, I think it's time we do a few thank yous.
Yeah.
Obviously,
absolutely. Yeah.
I'll run a few off. So obviously, thank you to all our talent team. That's not including myself. So we have Cole, obviously Elliot. We've had James and Connor just do golf with friends, as well as the lovely LMAO Lottie, who's a little bit tired.
Very tired.
And also Tommy, who disappeared a bit earlier on. Obviously, want to say thank you to our wonderful production team. Obviously, you haven't seen those guys. You saw Ben a bit earlier.
They're all over on this
side.
Of course, you got
they're all on this side.
But production, you guys have been absolutely great today. Obviously, as well, we have to shout out the main man, Benito. Benito made a lot of the stuff you saw during our ad break. So big round of applause and thank you for Benito. He done absolutely brilliant. Obviously, as well, have to say thank you to the wonderful lecturers for their contributions.
Yeah.
Not only as players,
look at him, absolute sexy man.
Not only as players, but also allowing us this opportunity.
That one.
There's one right here as well. Those two as well, yeah.
We have to say thank you to London, of course. Radoslav in the back, chilling out whilst he does. There he is. Well done, boy.
Hello.
But yeah, overall, we want to thank you guys as well for checking it out. Thank you, London, for taking part and giving us. Although, you know, it looked a bit less even at the start, I think overall the day ended pretty well for both of us. A very even showing between both sides. Obviously, confirmation, London did win 5-3 across the day, but we won the game that mattered most. Obviously, Matt as well. We forgot about Matt. Thank you, Matt, for helping out with the event today. Well done, Matt. Thank you. A lot of people... go on, Matt. Say something. Go on.
Hey, how we doing? How we feeling?
It's great having you on, Matt.
I've been in the other room the whole day.
Yeah, he has. Matt and Benito have mainly been
Yeah.
working behind the scenes, communicating with the folks over in London. I'll name a few people in production because I feel bad. Aaron, thank you for the graphics. Mentioned that earlier. Joel, the main man, has been at that Vision Mix all day long, and he's put in a great shift. Well done, Joel. Obviously, Rockass and Luke as well on the audio. And there's the main man, Benito. Benito, do you want to say something?
Benito.
Come on, you
Come
take
on,
this.
have these.
my boss.
You're taking them, okay.
Hello. Oh,
This is him.
all right. What I want to say was, I think that was a great day. I had fun. I know the team here had a lot of fun. I think it is a great thing moving forward, and you know, I had a great time. All right.
I like this angle. It's cute.
Shout out to Harry, who I was liaising with London. Great guy.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. Yeah.
And they're so... Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Yeah. You are very handsome.
It's the sleep deprivation.
It's the it is the sleep deprivation.
To be fair, the
That's
amount
what
of
it
crazy we've had.
It's definitely been a
is. I've lost a lot of weight. That was fun. Yeah, I know. Anyways, kind of. No, I'm good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like your iPad.
Yeah, you can have this back.
my snazzy iPad. There we go. Me and Flower are back now. Right. I'm trying to think. Have we missed anyone off for the thank yous? Oh, I mean, I did say Ben earlier, but we'll thank Ben a second
Do a
time.
bigger one.
I said
Come on.
thank you,
An even
Ben,
bigger
obviously,
one.
head of production, doing everything inside of production. Thank you, Ben.
Taking a seat over there for the first time.
He also, you got in front of the camera, Ben, something we don't see you do too often, but did an absolute great job. I mean, yeah, Brandon, of course, as well. Brandon's not here, but did help out on production when Ben was doing some casting and obviously made a lot of the graphics, so obviously you saw of those throughout the day, so big shout out to Brandon.
Yeah.
You what? We've done stuff.
of
Obviously our
course,
players
yeah.
as well. I think I'm just trying to list off anything I can remember at this point.
Douglas Jog, tough game.
Oh yeah, of course, Mr. Dungosgog. We've got the Psyducks, the monkey. I've also got the two monkeys here as well.
Don't do
There's one.
us. Why don't you?
They're all just chilling. He's not really been involved in this, but thanks to him as well. I think we're just listing off ways to kind of end this
All the
quite
mums for
nicely.
watching.
All the mums, Aaron's mum,
yeah,
my mum,
amen.
Lottie's mum, everyone's mum. Thank you, everyone's
Your mum's mum.
Big up Lottie's mum. Big up Lottie's mum.
Yeah.
Lottie putting in a great shift today, doing a bit of observing, bit of casting, bit of everything.
Very good.
And obviously I'll say this. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for the opportunity to do this. Obviously, as us as students, this is a great opportunity for us to get involved and show off our talents. A lot of us, aspiring to do some of this stuff in industry. A lot of us, well, actually, I think pretty much all of us inside of production are aiming to do something along these lines in the industry. So it's definitely an interesting one and definitely a great way, an opportunity for us to get involved in these smaller events to put us on the ladder. But I think with
Absolutely. I think there's one more thing, Nathan.
what are you going to say, Cole?
And it's a thanks to you.
Yeah, thank you as well.
Absolutely. Out of everyone,
Thank you
missed
very
the one,
much.
One guy.
I mean, I was trying to be humble, but
No way.
what's
Not allowed.
What does this say, Lottie?
Top.
Up the staff.
Up the
Up
staff.
Up the staff.
Up the ducks.
Up the duck.
Up the ducks. And with that, I think, you know what? I think up the ducks is a great way to put it. We'll see you next time, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching.
Thank you very
say?